Hi friends, this is Sunil with you from Pandas Learning. We have a query that's come up from our student community on how to merge datasets. So we'll use a simple example of performing an inner join on two datasets. So I have two datasets here, one containing flight data and the other containing survey data for the flights. So let me just import the datasets, right? And let's first explore the flight data and see what they have in it. Okay, it has an ID column here and another set of columns which describe the flight data. So that's about it. Now let's have a look at the survey data set. Okay, there you go. Fine. So this has many more columns. So basically this is survey data for the flights. Okay, and yes, we have an ID column that is repeated in both these data sets. And if you look at the data, if you look at the values over here, it looks the same. That looks good. So that means we can actually build a relationship between between these two data sets using the ID column. But what's clearly noticeable is that the ID column is having a different case here. So here it's in the flight data, it's in uppercase, and in survey data, it's in the title case. So we'll have a look at that a little later. But first, let's see what the size of this data set is in terms of the number of rows. So we look at the flight data set. So it has 90,917 rows. And let's look at the survey. Okay, perfect. So it has the same number of rows. So I would assume that the ID columns are all in sorted order here. That's how it looks like, right? But then even if I were to, just directly build or merge these two data sets, I would need to ensure that the ID columns are matching, because if I try to merge them without matching the column names, it would match it based on the index numbers. So let's say we have our data not in sorted order, or if we have a separate ID number in each of these data sets which are not matching, then we are going to combine two data sets which actually don't relate to each other. So we don't want to have a situation like that where we combine two data sets and they do not relate to each other. So the first thing that we need to do is to ensure the ID columns are named exactly the same. So I like the way how the ID column is in the flight data in capital letters. So I'll repeat the same in the survey data set as well. So I'll just rename the column here. So I'll just say survey.rename columns, and I'll say the column name currently is in title case and I want it in uppercase, right? And I'll say in place equals true. Perfect. I'll run that. Okay, so this basically should have renamed the column. I will go and reconfirm that. I will rerun this. There you go. Okay, so now we have both the ID columns which are exactly the same. The name of the columns are the same. So now we can build a relationship. So now we can merge these two data sets. So let's say let's create a new data frame, and then let's use the merge module. So what are we going to merge? We are going to merge the flight data with the survey data set. We can use a how attribute to say what kind of join we want to use. So by default it's an inner join, so we can avoid that. So otherwise we'll just say how equals inner. So by default it's an inner join, so even if you skip that, it is fine. Now we need to say by what column do we need to merge these two data sets. So you'll use the on attribute, and then we'll just specify the column name, right? So the column name is ID, both in both are in the uppercase, and we are good to go, and we'll run this. Okay, that's run. We'll have a quick look at our data. Okay, perfect. So we have our ID column here, and see, up to here is where we had our data for uh, the flight data basically. So we had up to the arrival delay, and now we are seeing the merge that has happened with the survey data. And if you notice, the ID column has not been repeated. It has built the relationship perfectly. So let's also check the size of this data. Perfect. So we have the same number of rows and the number of columns have been added. So let's have a look at that. We have 9 and 16 columns respectively in both these data sets. So now we have 24. So the repeated column ID is being removed from the survey data set because we build the relationship between those two columns. So like it's perfectly done, right? So this is a very simple example of how we can perform an inner join. Do let me know in the comment section if you'd like me to share more videos on more complex merge combinations that you would want. So I'd be more than happy to share videos on them. For now, thanks for watching.